So I've been thinking over the past months about all the remakes that Capcom has been doing. And I remember doing a video not too long ago and having some comments that I found very interesting. Now, I forgot my boy's name, man, but you know who you are when I say this. I feel like the narrative has been switching around Resident Evil 1. Now, to me, Resident Evil 1 is one of the greatest horror games of all time. It's one of the best games in the series. Now, it's not my go-to RE game of all time, but it's in the Mount Rushmore for me. I think that's undeniable. But as of late, especially over the last couple years, with the newer fans coming in, enjoying the remakes, or just the fans that started RE around Resident Evil 4, I feel like a lot of them have been trying to push a narrative about Resident Evil 1. And that's the fact that Resident Evil 1 is not playable and it's just not good. And I've seen this all over the internet as of late, and I'm just sitting here like, how? Resident Evil 1 embodied what true horror is. The every bullet counts. Not even use your gun at all, just knowing how to maneuver around zombies. Not knowing what's around every corner. Not knowing what's behind that door that you just unlocked. The unknown. That is what made Resident Evil 1 one of the best horror games of all time. Now, of course, you got the cheesiness and everything that we love in RE, and I just feel like it's a perfect horror game. So, I really just want to ask a lot of y'all, especially the OG fans, do y'all feel like Resident Evil 1 should join the remake process along with the other games in the series? Technically be a remake. Now, I never even thought of Capcom even touching Resident Evil 1. I know there's been some rumors that I covered like last year that Resident Evil 1 was supposed to be getting a remake. I really don't know how true those rumors are. That's really why I just stopped covering rumors as a whole. It's just a waste of time. Seeing that Capcom is remaking 5, they remade 2. They basically remade every RE except 0 and 1, and 6 doesn't exist, so we're not going to talk about that. We know 5 is coming. But would it truly make sense to remake 1? Now, I'm going to play devil's advocate here because I actually wouldn't want them to remake 1, but I definitely would understand it. A lot of the people that are saying Resident Evil 1 is not a game that they can finish, because I have a lot of friends that say the same thing. I had to ask them because a lot of them are newer to the series. They joined the series around the time Resident Evil 7 came out. Some of them joined when RE2 came out. So I wanted to get a newer fans perspective on what they think about Resident Evil 1. I put them on to it. I'm telling them go play it. They told me they couldn't finish it. So it's not an uncommon thing for people to say that the game is not pulling them in enough to finish it. And actually, I think the main reason for that, and it might be a little bit shocking to a lot of people, but this is just what I think. And I truly believe the difference between the fixed camera angle and the over-the-shoulder camera angle makes or break Resident Evil games to a lot of fans. It's not easy starting when you have the iconic over-the-shoulder point of view and then going back and playing a fixed camera angle game. And I know some people are going to sit there and be like, nah, that's bullshit, not real fans and all that, because I know how Resident Evil fans get. The community never agrees with each other. Me personally, y'all know I hate the Take Control RE game. It's a reason why I cannot just replay Code Veronica like that. I prefer the new style of RE gameplay. But a lot of people will sit there and tell me I'm tripping and I'm not a real fan because I don't like tank controls. It's just how the community is. Sit back and really think about it. Can we really blame these people for not being able to finish Resident Evil 1? I mean, just let me explain. The over-the-shoulder camera angle was such a game changer when it was introduced in RE4. That's the reason why we have some of the horror games we have today. If it wasn't for that over-the-shoulder camera angle that Capcom put in RE4, we wouldn't have games like Dead Space. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many games we would not have. The reason why the camera angle is so popular is because it's so engaging. It puts you right in front of the action or the horror, and it makes the game 30 times more engaging. When I'm playing something like RE4, is it more engaging than RE1? In my opinion, absolutely yes. The only thing is, it's not really a horror game. So can you imagine if we got a true Resident Evil horror game with the over-the-shoulder point of view? It would be fantastic. I think that's what a lot of us want for Resident Evil 9. So me picturing what Resident Evil 1 remake could possibly be with the over-the-shoulder camera angle, I honestly think, and do not kill me for saying this, it could be a way better game than the actual remake. Again, it might sound crazy. We all thought it was crazy for RE4 remake to be better than the original. A lot of people might not have it being better than the original due to the fact that, you know, the ambiance of the original was a little bit more darker and the original was a lot more goofier. But if we're going to be unbiased, and again, I'm telling you guys, I am a huge fan of the original RE. But just sitting here thinking about what RE1 could look like with that over-the-shoulder camera angle does make me a little more excited. You're dealing with crimson heads and all that stuff. The horror is just going to be amplified. And you know, Capcom is the best at remakes. So everything will be more intense and scary than the original remake. For the people that don't want it to be remake, I understand because the game is a masterpiece. And I don't think it's any other word to use to describe Resident Evil 1. It's just that damn good in my opinion. That is peak horror at its finest. That's why some people do not enjoy Resident Evil games today, because Capcom hasn't really tried to replicate the horror aspect that Resident Evil 1 brought. Sure, Resident Evil 2 is that's my favorite RE, to be honest with you guys, but sure, Resident Evil 2 is probably the most popular one in the series other than 4 and 1, but it was just something special about RE1 that just wasn't ever attempted to be replicated in all the other RE games, and I know a lot of people miss that aspect. And truly, I think if they made a remake, we'll get a lot of people on hate watch. That's just how it goes with the RE community. I'm really intrigued to see if Capcom ever has a plan to remake the original Resident Evil 1. So I'm really intrigued to see what Capcom is going to do with Resident Evil 1. I really doubt, me personally, that they're going to leave it untouched. It just makes too much sense for them to remake it because Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 4 remake brought in a whole lot of new fans, and it's making Resident Evil bigger than it's ever been. Next year is a massive year for Resident Evil. I believe it's like the 30th anniversary of RE or something crazy like that. I expect several games to be shown. Like, there's a lot they have in store. That's why we are not seeing too much Resident Evil this past year. I feel like they're saving up. And who knows, Resident Evil 1 remake might be one of those surprises that we see next year. Already a rumor about RE0 getting a remake. It makes too much sense for Resident Evil 1 to be packaged with RE0. It just makes too much sense. Maybe I'm tripping, maybe y'all think something different, but it makes sense in my head. But y'all let me know how y'all feel. Do y'all think Resident Evil 1 should be remade yet again? Do y'all believe my camera angle theory is on to something? I don't think it could be anything else that turns newer fans off to RE1. I just don't see it. So y'all let me know y'all theories on that. I think mine was a pretty good one, but I really want to see what y'all think. Are you somebody that cannot finish RE1 or can't get into it? Make sure you guys like the video, get this video in the algorithm for your boy. I greatly appreciate it. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, man. If you love Resident Evil content, if you love Silent Hill, I'm your guy. So yeah, that's all I got to say. Stay safe in these gaming streets. I'm gonna catch you guys on the next one. Peace out.